Welcome. This is a Goon Squads Present, the decentralized news podcast, where we report the major events affecting the crypto economy. I'm your host, Piter, joined as always by Aussie. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Loving the new Goon Squad Presents. I love the title.
Yeah, well, the goons are trying to spread the word, so nothing like little news, just general news to help spread the word.
Absolutely.
Keep all the anons up to date.
Absolutely, I love it. It's
I mean, they always say don't trade on the news, but I like keeping up to date on what's going on as much as I can, everything that affects the crypto economy.
absolutely. If you're not keeping up with the crypto economy, are you even keeping up?
Are you even trying? Or are you just pure degen?
Yeah,
just pure heart.
absolutely.
All right, well let's kick it off. CZ got out, and There was a little excitement. I know we were expecting like, oh, is there another project coming, right? But he put out a tweet. I know some of you may have a lot of questions. I won't read the whole tweet. These are just my favorite parts. I won't have all the answers. Let me chill for a bit, then figure out the next steps. There are always more opportunities in the future than there were in the past. I love that line. But he does go on to say, amongst other things, but I will continue to invest in blockchain, decentralized technologies, AI, and biotech. I'm a long-term investor who cares about impact, not returns. So it sounds like something may be cooking in the future with CZ.
Oh, things are definitely cooking. I can't imagine they aren't. To put out that tweet after being in prison for 4 months, 5 months, like he's cooking something up. He was sitting there bored. He probably was dreaming something up while in jail.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I like that. Taking a little time off, reflect on everything, what he comes up with. His blockchain that he founded is still running smooth, even without him. So I would think that's exciting news for any founder.
Absolutely. I think BNB is dying as a chain, but that's just the life cycle of things a little bit. But
yeah, you said that it's dying, but it's performed pretty well in this bear cycle.
It has. It's interesting. It's
just its token price in and of itself. I'm not sure about other metrics, but
yeah, just from what I know from other metrics, like memes have not gone anywhere like major on BNB. I haven't really heard of a lot of new major protocols launching on BNB type thing. I know they are moving to an L2 OP stack BNB at some point, but I don't know. I don't know if that's out yet, or if maybe people are waiting.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of upgrades from other chains. We're talking about AVAX today, but Polygon and Pol, Solana, having some announcements about some major upgrades, but nothing like that coming out of BNB.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing major coming out of.
Oh, Cardano too. Sorry, yeah, Cardano, another big one.
Yeah, nothing major coming out of BNB, and so that's the interesting thing to watch is whether we do see some stuff come out of BNB or if they keep their nose to the grindstone and stay quiet.
Well, it's not all roses. There was a article that came out today about NFT sales plummeting. Non-fungible token sales continue their downward trajectory in September. This is data from CryptoSlam. They show that NFTs recorded 296 million in sales during September. This is an 81% drop from their best month this year, which was March, and a 20% drop from last month. The article also mentions the NFT space is getting some attention from the SEC. On August 28th, the CEO of NFT marketplace OpenSea reported the company received a Wells notice. We'll see what comes of that. And on September 16th, the SEC fined an NFT-themed restaurant Flyfish $750,000 for selling NFTs. So definitely probably worrisome for other projects.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing, and some NFT folks will take a shot across the bow at me for this, but NFTs are, at least for some of the hype and some of the volume that was happening, are being replaced by meme coins. The hype that was into betting on PFPs and those NFT projects has shifted into meme coins because meme coins are more liquid. It's a little bit faster moving. all those sort of things. And so maybe some of the volume that was in the NFT scene last year or previously is now being replaced by meme coins. And so although I don't think
Another
it's
point just to add on to that is the community too. So a lot of the attraction of NFTs was joining the community, but meme coins can be much larger communities.
absolutely. And I think the big thing about that is not everyone gets art. And a certain thing with NFTs is it's hard. Like you can't CTO, you can't do a community takeover as easily on necessarily on an NFT collection, but it's much easier to do on a meme coin. And so you can keep communities going even if the founders drop the ball. So we're definitely seeing that a little bit with NFTs, and I think that's part of it. Do I still think NFTs definitely have a place and will definitely see resurgence? Absolutely. I just this struggle makes sense, but definitely worth watching. Magic Eden, they've got their Magic Eden token that's dropping, and they're doing some pretty big things in the space to try and keep the NFT scene going. And Salvatore on AVAX is also worth watching. They're doing some pretty interesting lending and borrowing with NFTs.
Yeah, it could be seen as an opportunity. Right? This is down and still down a lot. There's always opportunities. There was the SEC chair got grilled in one of the Congress or Senate hearing. I'm not sure which one. But one of the guys brought up NFTs and was trying to compare NFTs to like a Yankee ticket. And how like he basically got the SEC chair to say, look, a Yankee ticket isn't a security. And it has a secondary market. I can make money off of it. So what's the biggest difference if I have an NFT that gives me maybe some access to something? Why is that such a big difference? And maybe the one thing that the SEC will really come down on is if it's like a little mini ICO to start a business, or if it is something that has some utility or gives you some access, but it's not necessarily revenue share.
Yeah, I definitely think the mini ICO part makes sense in terms of like if it's launching a game or if it's launching a
like there's going to be some expectation of profit. Whereas if it's just access, like if it just gives you access to read a comic book or something, it's not necessarily revenue share. The argument makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely, and I think there's like just access to their community, like whether things develop from there. That's like potential.
Yeah, like a content creator saying like, oh, you can access buy this NFT, whatever.
Yeah,
but it's not necessarily a revenue share.
Or even like join this community. We'll give you access to pre-sales. Like we'll that's like we'll make connections. We've got connections that have access to pre-sales. If join the community, you'll get access to the community, and we may share pre-sales with you. Like, I think that's fair. It's interesting. NFTs, I think.
I hope NFTs make a comeback. It's a really interesting part of the market. There's a lot of possibilities with NFTs, and I do hope they find their niche in DeFi. Well, there's a lot of innovation potential there.
I know that so on Polygon, there's Courtyard.io, and that allows you to trade digital sports cards. So you can buy like baseball or I think baseball and football are the two that I know for sure, but they might have hockey.
You can get those cards digitized.
You can buy a digital version of like some like big quarterback's rookie card and like trade that live on Courtyard.io. And so I know that's got a lot of volume and a pretty big interest in terms of it is a card market, which it shouldn't be, isn't a security. And
it's not yet.
Well, no, the SEC even said that trading Pokemon cards, like speculating on Pokemon cards, isn't a security. So
maybe they're going after NFTs first, and they're going after sports cards next. So
yeah. So they allowed you to do that via NFTs. So I think that's pretty cool with Courtyard as well.
Well, it's not all bad news. We had a pretty strong week last week. It's been down a little bit this Monday morning, but ETFs and crypto investment products in general saw their third consecutive week of positive inflows. 1.2 million last week, their most since July 19th. And this included 87 million for ETH, ETPs, exchange traded products, finally breaking a 5-week outflow streak. So ETH on the board with a win.
Oh, and that's not the only win for the ETH ETPs. The ETH ETPs also, BlackRock surpassed 1 billion in TVL. So that's a pretty big milestone.
For ETH?
Yeah, for ETH. So that's pretty big considering we saw net inflows of about 1.2 billion last week. And
it brings up a good point because part of this story is there's money cycling over from Grayscale into BlackRock. It's not all just straight inflows that BlackRock needs to grow. There's a similar story with Bitcoin at first that kind of muted the growth, muted the excitement at first. So maybe a similar story playing out with ETH.
Yeah, absolutely. But hitting 1 billion, that's pretty great. And it shows that there is interest in ETH. And so it's maybe a bit lower than Bitcoin right now, but there definitely is interest in ETH. So worth watching considering we should be entering October. There was a lot of excitement that we might get October a little bit early. The monthly candle closes today, so that's worth watching. We're sitting at 63,400, which would be about 7.5% green in the month, which is very bullish. Generally, a green September means a very green October, November, December. So
I think before this little dip, it was on pace for like the best September ever. I don't know where we're sitting at the moment.
Yeah, we're sitting at, so we were hitting almost 11% or 12% for the month just before. So we'll see now at about 7.5. We'll see where Bitcoin settles for the month. But in terms of performance, that's pretty good. We briefly got over the 65K kind of resistance level, but it's come back down under with today's numbers. But that might just have to do with some of the uncertainty around macro and stuff, and we'll see what Uptober brings. I'm pretty bullish on Uptober. Are you bullish on Uptober?
I'm bullish in general. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the market turn consistently for a little while. I've been looking forward to it, riding out this bear market. But one person who has not jumped into Bitcoin yet, but still has time, maybe this was just for him, we have Argentinian President Javier Milei is set to meet with El Salvador President Nayib Bukele in Buenos Aires. I can imagine Bitcoin will be on the agenda. Argentina seemed to do a good job in controlling spending, but they seem to need something to feel good, like a feel-good story. I don't know.
El Salvador's up nicely on their Bitcoin right now, and they're pretty happy.
Yeah, like Argentina is going through some tough times and their major changes, so be nice for them. I don't know. It could be a really nice story if they do get on board at the same level that El Salvador has, and it leads to similar success.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's like average statistics say that in Q4 Bitcoin doubles, so it's worth watching.
Get in, Javier. Get in quick.
Yeah, don't be left behind. Don't miss the boat. And about not missing the boat, we've got BNY Mellon trying to not miss the boat and get ahead. They've been engaging with banking regulators to offer crypto custody services at scale. So looking to compete with Coinbase and Binance and all of the exchanges. More news on that?
Well, so this is one of the biggest banks, and they want to custody crypto, and they're working with the SEC, and they had some positive news so that they could do it. So there's no banks that in the US that custody cryptos, all these exchanges only, but they argue that it interferes with future services. So this is a huge bank that wants to expand in the crypto market. So that's a bullish part of the story. And they announced this review. They announced this because the Office of the Chief Accountant at the Securities and Exchange Commission did not object to something the bank was proposing about crypto assets shouldn't be recognized as balance sheet liabilities. And then basically gets them around the Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, which seems to be limiting banks being able to custody. So there is some controversy in that this large bank is able to bypass the rule and get some attention from the SEC. That was noted by Hester Pierce, that they could have resolved this issue and just made the rules of the road for everybody already. But it's bullish just seeing a large bank get more and more involved with crypto. That's the TLDR to me.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will provide future clarity for regulators for regulations and for other banks getting involved.
Yeah, part of me worries whether they won't have the right reporting requirements, but absolutely, it's bullish to see banks wanting to get into the custody game for crypto, so that all of these newbies can onboard. We can get all that retail money coming to check out the space. So worth watching for sure, and we'll see what comes of the story. It's definitely not done yet, but worth watching. And what's definitely just heating up is macro. We've had a couple.
It's been a big story with the rate cuts lately.
Yeah. It was kind of steady as she goes for a while, and it's really come back into the forefront. Jerome Powell's giving a speech today, and Federal Chair Bostic, or Federal Governor, I think, Bostic, said that they're open to another 50 basis point cut in November, given if economic stats say that it's around the same. So worsening labor market would make Bostic give another 50 basis point cut. Jerome Powell said that he's eyeing 225 basis point cuts for the rest of this year. So we're basically hearing 50 more basis points, whether it's in one meeting or two. So we're worth watching to see what that means, and especially as we've got unemployment and JOLTS numbers coming in this week, definitely worth watching to see what that means. PCE came in cool and better than expectations, so inflation is coming down according to the Fed's favorite measure. Looking at a global rate cutting cycle overall, with Canada having recently cut rates again, and China doing a rate cut and a stimulus package last Friday. They cut by 50 basis points, and then they announced that they're injecting $140 billion into the economy. So quantitative easing as well. Pretty bullish in terms of the global economy and the money supply, which plays a huge part in allowing Bitcoin to do what it does in bull markets.
So we see the most recent inflation numbers looking good. Unemployment is supposed to come in flat, but if that comes in hot, it'd be even more reason for them maybe to cut rates a little more aggressively.
Absolutely. And we're not seeing quantitative easing being talked about in the US quite yet, but we are definitely seeing, hey, like we've done our job, interest rates need to come down. So, and this is, if they do another 50 basis points, that would be some of the most aggressive cutting they've done in a long time.
They went up faster. They were historically fast raising rates, so maybe they'll be just as historic in how they drop them.
Yeah, so that'll be worth watching. Right now, me is favoring just slightly to cut a 50 basis point cut at the next meeting on November 7th. Although, actually, no, that just swung drastically after the speech. We were sitting at 46% favoring two cuts at the November meeting, and it's now swung 65%, 34% for one cut this next meeting. So might be contributing to why Bitcoin is a little bit down today. So Jerome Powell's speech had some pretty significant effects. It'd been pretty tight with a slight favor towards 50 basis points for the last 2 weeks, but it's now swung the other way. So that's definitely worth watching now.
So assumed hawkish comments.
Yeah, hawkish or less dovish than the market was expecting.
Just relative to where he was. Yeah.
Compared to Bostic's comments, it would be seen as hawkish, but not necessarily hawkish. What we're seeing for December, just looking out, 40% are expecting not to have an additional cut, and then some of them are expecting 47 or 48% are expecting an additional cut in December, and then 15% are expecting a 50 basis point cut in December. So we're seeing where that goes, but the market is still looking for more rate cuts. So let's see how unemployment and everything factor into that until the next couple of weeks. We're still essentially a month and a week away before the next rate cutting cycle.
It's exciting times, and yes, the unemployment numbers become the biggest numbers ever again.
Yeah.
Most important thing. But whatever the next report is, always like, oh, this is the biggest report yet.
Oh, absolutely. That being said, please consider liking and subscribing to the content. Come help support us in bringing the news to you every week, except for the next 2 weeks, because Piter will be traveling, and then I have Canadian Thanksgiving. So we will be off for the next 2 weeks.
What do you have to be thankful for in Canada?
A lot. They cut rates before you guys did.
Oh, there you go. Well, let's get into the speed run. You want to kick us off with this? FTX like pumped crazy, and then I don't know, came back.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
FTX has announced that their next restructuring hearing is set for October 7th.
There's like rumors it was like hitting the markets this week or today or something.
People were getting excited that this was going to be a huge liquidity infusion. Right now, if the restructuring is approved on October 7th, so next week, then there would be claimants under 50,000 would receive payments by late 2024, so sometime in Q4, while larger claims over 50,000 would be processed in 2025. So that's going to be a liquidity infusion into the crypto market. Most see it as bullish. There's a rumor of up to 16 billion being reinfused into the market, but what it says is about everyone's getting about 25 to 30% of their assets back. So there's different rumors and different levels of bullishness going on, but that's the current discussion.
Yeah, I'm blessed. I feel blessed. I didn't have anything tied up in there. So
yeah, me either. I got lucky and didn't have anything tied up in there. Talking about things being tied up, restaking protocol Eigen layers, Eigen tokens will be released in the coming hours, so they will now be transferable. People have been receiving airdropped Eigen for several months now, but it was locked, and they're now unlocking their anticipated token at 9 p.m. PST on today, Monday, September 30th. So that's interesting, and trading is set to start on Binance an hour later. So we'll see what happens there. See what price it launches at and what the hype is, whether it's a dump the news or buy the news event.
There was a lot of these airdrop tokens. There's been a pretty good dump, but yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure how all their tokenomics work and everything.
Yeah,
really exciting in there. Like their total value locked has gone down, I believe.
Yeah,
Maybe people taking their money out because they was just there for the airdrop.
That and the locking made certain people not very excited, and they
pissed some people off.
Yeah, and then some people, like, just the total number of tokens that were distributed in terms of, like, some people were getting like 14 tokens, like that made some people just not very particularly excited. And maybe if those 14 tokens launch at $140 a token or something, I don't know their tokenomics either. Maybe it gets a bit more exciting, but I can understand why 14 tokens does not sound particularly exciting if you're staking thousands of dollars, for example. So it'll be interesting to see. But we've also got something interesting at Avalanche. You want to talk about what's coming on there?
Well, following the footsteps of Cardano and Pole, major upgrades, Avalanche 9000 is set. It's not set, but it's rumored to be upgraded soon, maybe this month, the last quarter at least. But their largest upgrade yet, they're claiming it, is called Avalanche 9000. Some of the features, 99% reduction in commitment fees to launch a subnet, which is their major, what they're offering the market that's a competitive advantage, different than what others are doing. There's increased customization on said subnets to meet specific needs. So think of gaming, and they want to do specific things with their own layer one, I guess you'd call it. It's going to improve on the overall speed and cost of transactions. That seems to be common. But this I thought was interesting. It includes features aimed at regulatory compliance, like geo restrictions and custom permissions. So trying to get their head around how to deal with the unknowns in the regulatory environment. I thought that was pretty solid, but no official release date yet.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I like the sound of that news, and this is also comes as their biggest DEX, Trader Joe, rebrands to LFJ, or Let's Fucking Joe. So yeah, so That's pretty exciting. AVAX seems to be cooking a lot there's some pretty major games coming to AVAX as well. Off the Grid is one that I've heard a lot that is launching on Avalanche, so worth watching. And you can also stake your ARB for USDC on LFJ. So
the only thing you could stake before, you can get all the liquidity pools or whatever on their decks, but you could stake Joe and earn DC. But now you can stake Arbitrum on the Arbitrum chain. Like, you're not switching chains or anything.
So pretty interesting, pretty bullish for Avalanche with a lot of things cooking. Thorchain, Brune, they're launching a new DeFi app layer, which is related to like BTC Fi. So interesting to see what happens there. We don't have a lot of details, but it should be launching soon.
Yeah. Then we also have DeFi Kingdom's Coliseum game will launch on Metis Layer 2 on October 2nd. So a game launch coming. I know a lot of people are excited about Game 5, so hopefully this makes a splash.
Yeah, Sui, which has been getting a lot of attention, has a big $100 million unlock on October 1st. So most of it's going to early investors. So we'll see what that does into the price, if it's already priced in.
It's been pumping, so we'll see. It's come back a little bit, but yeah, can it survive? That's one of the things I like Sui. I always was intrigued by it, but it has such a low float, a lot of unlocks coming. That was like the one thing that it has to fight through, it seems like. But yeah, we'll see how this one unfolds. Pendle has released the solvebtc.bbn corn pool. But basically, it enables farming corn, Solve protocol, and Babylon airdrops all at once. There's a claim that liquidity providers are currently earning 27% APY on their BTC. So trying to attract the best asset of them all into DeFi.
Yeah, interesting to see what happens there. Pendle definitely has been getting a lot of attention. They had quite the pump in this last cycle. So
because they're associated with real world assets, and that's what BTC is, baby. Real world asset.
Well, that kind of covers the show for this week. Please consider liking and subscribing. It means a lot to us. Helps boost us in the algorithm and makes us want to keep doing this for all of you wonderful folks out there. That being said, just a reminder, we won't be here for the next 2 weeks as we'll be traveling and have holidays, but we will be right back with you guys as soon as we can, and maybe we will release a couple of short episodes with one of us at different points. So definitely check it out, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time.
Thanks, everybody.